Brendan Fraser seemed to be everywhere at the turn of the millennium. He was headlining goofy kids' adventure comedies, leading a mainstream franchise, and nabbing roles in critically favorable films. When you put it all together, Fraser has one of the most impressive bodies of work in Hollywood, from his critically acclaimed roles in School Ties and Gods and Monsters, running all the way through mega hits such as The Mummy and Journey to the Center of the Earth. Simply put, we love Brendan Fraser. But his star power has dulled over the years, leading many to wonder, why is Hollywood giving Fraser the cold shoulder? Could it really all have been because of that weird clap he did at the Golden Globes in 2010? Nah, there's a lot more to the story than that. Here's a look at some reasons this once busy actor has been so absent from the screen scene lately and why we think he can turn it around. Facing the flops, Fraser's bankability as a big name was called into question early on in his rise to fame. Whether you're stocking your first kitchen, congrats, or committing yourself to investing in learning how to cook, you're going to need some materials, and perhaps some advice. While the actor enjoyed some commercial successes, such as George of the Jungle (1997) and The Mummy (1999), he also suffered some serious stinkers at the same time, like Blast from the Past (1999) and Dudley Do Right (1999), both of which had critics laughing for all the wrong reasons and certainly didn't draw much audience interest. The Mummy Returns 2001 gave him some much-needed momentum in the right direction, and he went on to nab a role in the critically favored Crash 2005 before jumping into another action-adventure realm in Journey to the Center of the Earth 2008. But after that, his inability to drum up an audience seriously damaged his leading man reputation. His goofy shtick didn't stick. Fraser's appeal as the lovable doofus in George of the Jungle didn't quite translate to other franchise-hopeful films. That's where we come in. From cutting boards to mixing bowls, here are the 9 kitchen essentials we think all beginner cooks should have. Related, I'm a food editor and these are the only 3 knives you need in your kitchen. 1. Not only did Dudley Do Right do wrong, but Monkeybone 2001 was a dissed and dismissed non-starter, and perhaps most tellingly, his attempt to lead a live-action take on the Looney Tunes animated world sputtered out with a lackluster reception to Looney Tunes, Back in Action 2003. Sheet pans. We owe a lot to our trusty sheet pans, for countless batches of cookies and effortless one-pan meals. A half-sheet pan, the most common size in home kitchens, is the most versatile, but once you develop your chef skills you can also add quarter-sheet pans to your collection for smaller jobs like roasting veggies. We like the cheerful blue sheet pan from Great Jones, but plain aluminum ones are less expensive and work just the same. 2. A cutting board. You can't just chop those onions on a bare countertop, can you? The options can be overwhelming, but we prefer bamboo and wooden cutting boards over plastic, even for beginners. They're easier on your knives and naturally bacteria resistant, so there's less risk of cross-contamination. Fraser gave the goofball game that had made him a name one more go with Furry Vengeance 2010, but that movie was a disaster on all fronts and solidified the fact that Fraser's silly screen demeanor just wasn't getting kids to the ticket booths anymore. Burying the Mummy. While the first Mummy sequel debuted soon after the original installment and successfully capitalized on the excavation adventure craze, the third movie was slow-going, despite the successes of the first 2 films. You can read all about the best types of cutting boards here. 3. By the time The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor 2008 rolled along, audiences were over it and had moved on to other offerings of its ilk, such as Nicolas Cage's National Treasure movies. Liquid and dry measuring cups and spoons instead of eyeballing it when a recipe calls for a half cup of milk and a cup of flour. Invest in a few measuring devices, namely, liquid measuring cups, dry measuring cups and measuring spoons. The Mummy 3 didn't exactly bomb, but its domestic receipts were less than either of its predecessors and lead to the franchise being left to decay, until Fraser was replaced by Tom Cruise for the disappointing 2017 reboot. Killing a comeback once the Mummy franchise was clearly dead, Fraser had a real chance at following his Journey to the Center of the Earth success into a new franchise land, but he held out on signing on for Journey 2, The Mysterious Island 2012 out of loyalty to the first installment's director, Eric Brevig, who was tied up finishing another project at the studio's desired time of production. These OXO liquid measuring cups are made of silicone, so they're microwave-safe, flexible and won't warp over time. But remember, you need dry measuring cups for dry ingredients too. They're designed to hold the exact amount of ingredient, where liquid measuring cups have more space to account for easy pouring and potential spillage. 4. A nonstick skillet. A slick nonstick skillet is ideal for beginners because there's one less thing to worry about when searing and sautéing, and it's irreplaceable for cooking eggs. Rather than waiting on either party, the studio replaced the director and brought in Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to take Fraser's place, and the film did just fine without them, with several sequels expected to follow. Ouch. The joke was on him. Celebs becoming part of the meme machine can be a popularity boon. Hey girl, just ask Ryan Gosling about that. But for Fraser, his internet infamy was more awkward and unsettling than endearing. At the 2010 Golden Globes, he was captured in a moment of exuberance that was so unusually enthusiastic it spawned a series of video riffs that poked fun at his finger-gunning fun and proved that the comedic actor was funnier in impromptu moments like this than in most of his movies. Yikes. Was he blacklisted by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association? In a GQ story published in February 2018, a 49-year-old Fraser opened up for the first time about alleged harassment that changed the course of his personal and professional life and further isolated him from the Hollywood scene. The actor claims he was mortified after being groped at a luncheon in 2003 by Philip Burke, former president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association (HFPA). A 10-incher is a good all-purpose size. We like our places always pan because it's non-toxic and comes with a nesting steamer basket and spatula, and it's pretty darn cute. 5. A stainless steel skillet nonstick, while lovely, can't do everything. You'll need a regular old stainless steel skillet that can go from stovetop to oven and will give steaks and chicken thighs an appealing crusty sear. The unfortunate experience left Fraser feeling ostracized. I felt like someone had thrown invisible paint on me, he said, adding, it made me feel reclusive. In my mind, at least, something had been taken away from me. Though he didn't go public with the accusation, Fraser did notify the HFPA, which he believes may have contributed to his career downturn. Again, 10 inches is a good starter size, and look for one with a metal handle so it's fully oven safe. 6. I don't know if this curried disfavor with the group, with the HFPA, he said. A stockpot? No, you don't have to buy a bright orange stockpot. Isn't she pretty though? But you will want a pot large enough to boil pasta water, simmer homemade stocks and whip up large batches of soup. A 6-quart stockpot like this one from Le Creuset is a good size for beginner cooks and small households, but FYI, they make sizes up to 100 quarts. 7. Mixing bowls. Every well-stocked kitchen needs a set of bowls for prepping and mixing. But the silence was deafening. Burke told GQ that Fraser's version of the incident was a total fabrication. He reportedly sent the actor an apology letter but admitted no wrongdoing, adding that Fraser's career declined through no fault of ours. Fraser disagreed. While plastic bowls are inexpensive and glass are microwave safe, we prefer stainless steel. Why? They're lightweight but durable and won't break if you drop one from the counter. It happens. The phone does stop ringing in your career, and you start asking yourself why. There's many reasons, but was this one of them? I think it was, he said. I just spoke my truth. Not long after the stunning admissions he made in the aforementioned GQ interview, Fraser told E! News that he was ready to move on. Asked whether the revealing interview was cathartic, Fraser said, "No, I just spoke my truth. A lot can happen and it's important to unburden yourself with the things you just don't need anymore," the Crash star said while speaking to E! At FX's annual All-Star Party. Choose a set that nests for easy storage and versatility. 8. A chef's knife. With approximately 1 billion types of cooking knives out there, boning. Utility. Cleaver. It can be confusing to know which ones are actually worth the investment. I can go forward now and I feel good that I was inspired by others with courage and I was able to speak what I needed to say, and it's a new time. It seems Fraser had already taken the time to fully process the anguish of his situation before going public. His remarks also indicate that in combination with his allegation that he was the subject of blackballing, he also intentionally shrank away from the spotlight as a result of the incident until he was emboldened by the ongoing #MeToo and #TimesUp movements. If you're only buying one, make it a chef's knife, which can do almost any cutting job in the kitchen. It's a new era and I think some change that's good is going to come about, Fraser said of adding his voice and experience to the movements. I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful. Just when he thought it was over. After speaking out about the alleged groping, Fraser seemed ready to turn the page. But then the HFPA conducted a private investigation and asked him to sign off on a joint statement that cleared Burke of wrongdoing and framed the whole incident as a joke and not a sexual advance, according to GQ. Fraser declined. "I don't get the joke," he told the mag. He requested the full report from the investigation rather than the summary he was provided. "The knife you choose will come down to personal preference based on length, weight and feel, but an 8-inch blade will feel balanced in most hands." 9. The HFPA would not give Fraser the full report, which prompted even more skepticism from the actor. "Tongs think of tongs like an extra set of invincible hands, they're irreplaceable for flipping cuts of meat, moving hot food from skillet to serving dish, stirring pasta and even grabbing things from hard-to-reach shelves." Now, he not only wants Burke to step down, but he also wants to help dismantle what he calls the unwritten system that kept him and so many other victims of sexual assault and harassment quiet in the interest of powerful entities. "I want to end this episode, this chapter, in my own life and career and move on, just as I'm hopeful that others will be able to in years to come," Fraser said. In a statement to GQ, the HFPA once again condemned the encounter between Burke and Fraser as inappropriate but reiterated the findings of its investigation. "Acrimony when the getting is good, there's no business like show business, but if and when the Hollywood freeze-out process does begin, it can be pretty hard to thaw out a career, and it's even harder to stop the financial bleed that comes with professional injury. But not all tongs are created equal, there are many different locking mechanisms and materials, but we prefer the kind with a pull tab on the locking end and nylon-covered heads that are safe for using with non-stick pans. Brendan Fraser has paid, quite literally, for all his former movie star glory." Fraser and actress Afton Smith, with whom he has 3 sons, wed in 1998, announced their divorce in 2007, and reached a settlement for alimony and child support in 2009. However, the situation turned publicly ugly between them in 2013 when, as his career momentum slowed, Fraser petitioned for a reduction of his reported $900,000 a year payment schedule to Smith. She claimed he'd hidden funds and future film deals at the time of their settlement, but Fraser reasoned that he expected to make no money whatsoever, as in $0, in the future and would be relying on the assets he'd earned prior to the petition for payments, due to unspecific medical issues which affected his workflow. Is he combating a severe injury? According to some sources, the setback Fraser was referring to in his aforementioned petition was a back injury he sustained while attempting to clear away yard debris from Hurricane Sandy with a chainsaw. His injury reportedly even required corrective surgery and intense physical therapy and may prevent him from being able to do his own stunt work, as he had in prior productions. If true, that would support his claim that medical concerns could limit his future earning potential. Sad Fraser is Sad. In December 2016, Brendan Fraser appeared on AOL's Build series to discuss his role as Gunther the prison guard in Season 3 of Showtime's The Affair. His appearance on the Q&A session went viral for all the wrong reasons. Viewers of the segment remarked at how melancholy the actor appeared while discussing his career. If there was any lingering doubt that Fraser's personal and financial setbacks, combined with his lessening work opportunities, was taking a toll on the actor, that interview was considered proof that he was as woebegone about his pratfalls as expected, if not more. In February 2018, the actor talked about that uncomfortable appearance. As it turns out, what was behind the sad Brendan Fraser meme was sadness, reported GQ. His mother had died of cancer just days before the interview. Fraser said he was grieving, coming to terms with a lot of significant life changes, and also simply struggling with the show's format, which was a new kind of press for him. "I was going through things that mold and shape you in ways that you're not ready for until you go through them," he told the magazine. His fans really miss him. After the Sad Brendan Fraser video went viral, Fraser fans orchestrated a Change.org petition addressed to Netflix, HBO, Showtime, and other networks to encourage those companies to consider him for future opportunities.
More than 46,000 signatures had been collected by the time of this writing. Brendan has been in multiple interviews recently and has appeared to be very down and out, the petition said. And us loyal fans feel like we are obliged to help him out in any way possible. Please help us get Brendan back on his feet again, we miss him. Earlier the same year, Reddit users devised a plan to hit social media with demands that Fraser make it into more roles, particularly on the small screen, even going so far as to pitch specific shows and arcs they felt he'd be a good match for, like AMC's Breaking Bad spin-off Better Call Saul. After so many misses on the silver screen, perhaps the boob tube is where he really belongs right now. After all, it is a golden era for TV. A self-imposed hiatus, though Fraser has clearly laid the blame for his alienation from the industry at the feet of Burke and the HFPA. He also revealed that part of his long Hollywood hiatus was a conscious decision. Speaking with Madison in May 2018, Fraser acknowledged that there was a time that he couldn't keep up the pace of his own success. "It got to the point that I just wanted the music to stop," Fraser said. "I had 2 films coming out in the same week and I just wanted life to slow down. I'm almost 50 years old now and I realize things happen in cycles." Fraser also spoke with Vanity Fair about his return to mainstream projects, such as the FX series Trust, more on that in a moment, telling the mag, "It's satisfying to take the time off that I have for various reasons and to come back under the wing of so many amazing creatives." In other words, while he faced a difficult ordeal with the HFPA incident, perhaps Fraser's timeout from Tinseltown wasn't all that terrible. The best may be yet to come. Momentum means a lot in Hollywood, especially when it comes to a good comeback story. In Brendan Fraser's case, there's reason to believe that he may already be back on his feet. Fresh off The Affair, which showcased an all-new sort of screen personality, and with the reactions to the Fraser-less Mummy reboot showing some nostalgia for his talents, he has eased right back into some high-profile gigs. He snagged the lead in an Indian mafia thriller called The Field, was part of A&E's impressive cast for Texas Rising, and even signed with a new talent agency. He also starred in the 2018 sci-fi romance Behind the Curtain of Night as a man who sees past lives after dying in his present one. He also starred in the critically acclaimed FX anthology series Trust, starring alongside Oscar winner Hilary Swank and Golden Globe winner Donald Sutherland. According to Vanity Fair, it was Fraser's performance as Fletcher Chase, an eccentric private investigator, that gives Trust a surprising jolt of electricity whenever he appears on-screen. "It sounds like the table is set for a big career comeback, and we're excited to see Fraser rise to the occasion."